I just, hello everybody. I am Tara with Idlewild Journeys, and this is my new friend Julia Swenda with HX Expeditions. If you've heard me talk about cruising, you know that I like cruising. I like a good cruise. It's not my favorite way to travel though. My husband and I occasionally get in the mood and we'll go on a cruise, but typically we like to do more exploration, exploring destinations. I'm getting a little bit more immersed. But I tell you the type of cruising that I am desperate to get on, and that is expedition cruising. That is just really right up my alley. As a former teacher, I believe that, travel teaches us so much about the world and other people. And I like learning things about the destination more than you get just walking through. So expedition cruising is really on my dream list of things to do, and I haven't gotten to experience it yet. So I've been talking to Julia here about HX expedition cruising. And for those of you who have cruised a lot, or maybe quite a bit, and you're like, that's fun, but I just want a little bit more. Um, Expedition cruising is one of the fastest growing segments of cruising. So I think a lot of people have done a lot of cruises and they're just looking for something different. So Julia, thanks for chatting with me today. And so tell me a little bit about, let's tell people, because I still, when I talk about expedition cruising to clients or groups of people, nobody's heard of it.
Absolutely. So, well, thank you very much for having me on, Tara. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. And everything you just said is 100% on point. Expedition has been around, well, with us anyway, for 130 years. But currently, everybody's already been to all of the different places, the cruises to the Caribbean, the cruises to the Mediterranean. So they're kind of wondering, what's next? What's the best place to go? And that's where expedition comes into, because we take you to the places where 1% of the population will ever set foot. So these hard to reach places, places that most people don't even realize that they can actually travel to. So yeah, it's an incredible thing. I mean, I have some slides, some pictures, some videos. We can go through anything you want to today. But expedition really is about that storytelling and the visuals. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to start with a few things, and then that way we can definitely have a discussion about it as well. So you were asking me earlier, what is expedition? Well, it's that authentic immersive experience. When you were talking about the cruise lines that, I mean, and these ships are beautiful. They're built to be the destination. So they have these big Broadway theaters and they have thousands of people on board and tons of casinos and restaurants. That is nothing what Expedition is about. That is not what we offer. We have small ships. So our largest ship holds 500 passengers, but our smallest ship holds 90 passengers. So we have anywhere from 500, 200, all of those different things. And on board, we have the Zodiac. So as you can see pictured here, imagine yourself going to see penguins porpoising underneath you. You could have whales come up that close. You don't know because we are in their world. And then coming up so close to icebergs and seeing, glaciers up close, more close than you will get in one of the big ships. So I always like to say it's that small, authentic experience, that science and education, and that's something that we're really well known for.
So in science and education, there are scientists on board.
Absolutely. And I can show you our science centers and things like that. We have many, many different outfits in our ships. So we've had scientific collaborations, and I'll just go to a few of these. And before I talk about the brand too, because I know you're going to have a lot of questions about our history, but the first question that we get is, we've never heard of HX, right? So a lot of people have never heard of the company. Just to let you know and your clients know, we've been doing this for 130 years. So we do have this ship. Don't worry, we no longer use that. That was our very first ship that we used in 1896. This is when HX was started.
I'm
And
sure
this
you could
ship was
retrofit that,
yes.
modernize a little bit.
Yep, absolutely. Don't worry, we no longer, and I'll show you some of these pictures. But just to let you know, we've been around for 130 years. And this gentleman right here, Otto Svederup, was our very first captain. So we consider ourselves the experts in expedition. But getting back to your question about the scientists on board. We've had these scientific collaborations since 1902, and the beautiful thing about that is that you, the guests, can actually take part in the science that's actually being conducted on board. So we have citizen science boats that go out, and because we're in these different destinations multiple times a year, you can actually go out and collect water samples multiple times, in a season, and then go back to that same place next year. So you're actually getting consistent research that is being recorded for scientists all over the world to do studies. So you, as a guest, are actually part of this research too, which is really cool.
So exciting.
Yeah,
Very, very cool.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I know some people love birds, and some people are like, oh, I don't like birds. But I always say, if you like puffins, flamingos, and penguins, congratulations, you're a birder, because they are all birds. But we are the exclusive travel provider for the Audubon Society as well. So if you have any clients that love birds, take advantage of the extra ornithologists that we put on board. And we already have ornithologists, but we have marine biologists, geologists, glaciologists, all the ologists. So they're all on board to help you and give you the best journey possible.
And you're not going to get that on most other cruise lines. You're not going to have ologists online, rarely.
No, no. You're not going to even be able to go and listen to the lectures. We have tons of lectures that they do, depending on where we travel to. And I'll just go back to this. Where we travel to is, if you're going to Greenland, you're going to learn, well, actually, we'll have local representatives from the communities on our ships, if there are communities there. So just in the Galapagos, all of our naturalists are Galapagonian. So you're talking to everybody who grew up. They know the Galapagos like the back of their hand. I remember being there and they were saying, oh, my father used to take me fishing here, or we used to go here and do this. And same with Greenland. I was just in Greenland, and I'll show some pictures from that journey. Some of the locals, he's like, well, we would hunt musk ox here. Let me take you there. So the ship would go to where the musk ox were, which was really cool.
Yeah,
Or he knew where polar bears may be, or, it's not guaranteed because it's nature, but it's those types of things.
right. All right, very cool. So, and if the science center's this nice, I'm guessing the rest of the ship isn't exactly the
Roughing it.
cheapest ship out there.
No, no, no. You're definitely not roughing it. And we'll get into that too. So, I've already talked about some of the things about that, about our different areas. We go all over the world. And Tara, you can help everybody with that too. But just know that we can go to the Galapagos, Alaska, Northwest Passage, Greenland, Iceland, Antarctica, the Patagonia fjords. But let's get into the ship too, because we are the perfect balance of adventure, comfort, and sustainability. And the perfect balance meaning we're getting you off the ship as much as possible. It is comfortable, 100%, but you're going on these expeditions to experience the destination. So whether it's kayaking or hiking or anything, but don't worry, you don't have to be a triathlete for that. If you can walk 50 yards, you can easily go on one of these journeys. And you don't have to get off the ship. You can stay on the ship and enjoy all the creature comforts, which we're going to get into, I promise.
But how cool is that walking on ice in the middle of that's just too cool.
And I've done it now. I just did it in Greenland and I did it in Antarctica as well. So it's something that you want to be able to say, I've done in both hemispheres, which is really, really cool.
Very
Um,
awesome.
And then getting into that boutique feel of the hotels, of the floating hotel, as like I get to say, it's very comfortable. All your creature comforts. You have your saunas. You have we even have a spa on board. And I'll show you some of the suites. So very, very nice. Talking about sustainability, that's something that we always feature on our ships as well. This is one of our new modern ships. So you can see we've come a long way since that original ship. And the sustainability aspect, this is considered the most sustainable ship in the world. Whether that's important to you or to your clients or whether it's not, just know that you're doing something great for the planet and for future generations. This ship can go 22,000 miles without filling up. So it's pretty amazing. And then going back to the community aspect, we do work with local farmers, local fishermen to make sure that you eat farm to table, sea to table. And I could talk so much of what we do with the community involvement. But let's go into onboard ships because that's what we keep referring to. You're not roughing it on board. You're going to have your lecture halls that you can go live, or you can lay in your bed. Or if you're like me, I always forget and I watch them on demand because they're all recorded, which is really nice. But that science center, again, we keep coming back to this is the heart of the ship. I call this the teens club for adults. And, Tara, with your background, I'm sure this is something that is very important to you as well. You love to have people learn and you want to learn too, right?
Right.
When you're on vacation. And this is great for student groups. This is great for parents who want to take their kids out of school and not feel, like they're not, or like they're missing. They're going to be, conducting research with real scientists in these destinations. And then you're going to have your saunas, your indoor and outdoor gym. And then on two of our ships, we do have infinity pools, but all of our ships will have hot tubs. And getting into the staterooms and suites. Some of our suites have their own private fireplaces. Some have their own private jacuzzis on the deck. Really, really, really beautiful. And I did want to point out because you book with Tara, Tara does give you an onboard credit benefit. So that's something I wanted to point out for you as well. So I could keep going. I'm so sorry about this. So
No, you're fine. And onboard credit is something that you can buy on board. So you can use that for spa services. You can use that in the gift shop. I'm assuming there's a gift shop.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Of course, there's a gift shop.
Of course.
So
You can also
perfect.
use that for excursions too. So,
Okay.
and I'll get into the all-inclusive specials that we do have. So what we do is we are an all-inclusive experience. All of your meals, all of your drinks are included. But if we're in areas where there are communities or infrastructure, or if there is any type of infrastructure, we'll have more than one included activity. So sometimes we'll have premium excursions that you can purchase if you did not want to partake in one of our included activities for that day. So that's another thing that you could use your onboard credit for.
Perfect.
We do provide Wi-Fi at no additional cost and the logbook, which I know I've shown you before, and I'm very excited to show others too. So. Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, that professional photos of your trip, wait until you see the photos of Julia's trip to Greenland and you get all of this after your trip.
Absolutely. And the logbook is something that's not only for the photos and the videos, but it's something that's an extra because you know how sometimes you have your iPhone, you have your own camera, but I'm not a professional photographer, so sometimes I don't really see the same things that a professional photographer will see. And that is the beauty of this logbook. And then you also get all the flora, the fauna, the animals, everything that was experienced on that trip sent to you. It's kind of like your digital journey or your digital diary of your journey, which is really nice.
How cool. And then, so what if somebody from Florida, say, wants to go on this trip and they're like, they want to go to Iceland or Greenland and they're like, sorry about the dogs. Hey, but they're like, I don't have cold weather parkas. Hang on just a second. So sorry about the dog barking. The Amazon guy came. So anyway, we've paused and we're starting over. So the expedition gear, I think, is what we were talking about. So say you live in a warm weather climate and you don't have warm weather clothing. Tell us what you guys provide.
So we do provide a water resistant and windproof jacket, and it's a great shell. And the reason why we don't provide the parkas is because you want to be able to use this jacket maybe at home. So maybe you live in a warmer climate, but it still maybe rains there, or it might get a little bit chilly. So you will have a souvenir that you can use year round. And we always recommend that people layer, especially in these destinations, because yes, you may be in places with icebergs and it could be a lot cooler than where you come from, but it actually is a lot more comfortable than people realize. So that's why we do provide a windproof and water resistant jacket. And we do provide a water bottle for you to use and to keep while on your journey.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, getting into a little bit more about what to expect in an expedition, because if you're familiar with the big ships, this is very, very different from what you're used to. There's an expedition team. So, these are all of your ologists that will be your hosts on and off the ship, which will be very nice. They'll be driving you in the zodiacs, pointing out different things like the bird colonies or the different lichen or the different rocks or different, all the different things around there. They'll be pointing out the fossils and so forth. And remember, going back to the science aspect, we've been voted the best science program by Cruise Critic yet again this past year. But this is some of the findings from the citizen science boat. So, different larvae, copepods, jellyfish, just in a small little drop of water that we put under the microscope. This is what they found. So,
So
it's
cool.
it's so special. It's really, really, really special. And it's kind of fascinating to realize how important these little organisms are to everyday life because the food chain, it's all about the food chain. Now, what we wanted to do too is talk about the expedition launch a little bit more. The expedition launch is how you're going to get to the landings and into the zodiacs. And it's very simple. If you will see here that we do everything midship because this is the least amount of water movement, and we bring all the zodiacs in from the garage. And I always say, if you can walk up or down a few stairs, and you can, it doesn't have to be quick, it doesn't have to be, you can go at your own pace. Two people will always be assisting you getting on and off the zodiac. So it's very, very simple, and we make it as safe as possible. So all the landings, all the scenic cruising are all included, and this is how you will get to the destination. Some places will have some infrastructure, so sometimes you will have like a dry pier or a dock to get into, but most of the time it'll be wet landings or snow or polar landings, meaning landing on the snow. So in some areas, you're going to feel like you're the first human to ever set foot onto some of these destinations, and that's the beauty of an expedition.
Mhm.
So going back to our Audubon, if you want to go and see the blue-footed mating booby dance, or if you wanted to go and see any sort of bird that you don't have in your backyard, we are the exclusive travel provider for the Audubon Society, and that's a really special way of seeing some of these journeys as well. And if you book with Tara, she has another tool in her tool belt to help you get the best possible pricing for an expedition. So connect with Tara about this. And if you are an AARP member, she will be able to set you up with an additional discount on a trip. Now, if you're a solo traveler, Tara also has access to these special solo supplement waivers. So, what that means is if you're a solo traveler and if your journey is $4,000 per person, you are going to pay $4,000 for your own cabin. You do not have to pay another 4,000 or 200% of that cabin. You will get your own cabin, and it's all priced. Just it's different for every journey and every itinerary. So connect with Tara on that.
And if for those of you who have cruised solo before, if you haven't cruised solo before, you may not know that when you cruise or go to an all-inclusive, you're paying for the room based on double occupancy, even if you're just one person.
Mhm.
So some of them have where you're not paying 200%, but you're maybe just paying a little bit more, maybe 150. But this is a waiver, so you're just paying for the one person. So that's a great deal for, and we have a lot more, especially ladies traveling alone now. So
Absolutely.
I think that's a very, very good deal.
Yes. And if they are sold out of that specific journey that you're looking at, we have a very, very minimal. I mean, I've seen them 25%, just an additional. So it again, you're not paying for that entire person to be in that cabin. You're paying just a small, small fee, just maybe like $1,000 to $2,000 more just for your own room, which I think is 100% worth it.
Absolutely.
So it's either that or you don't go, right? So I
Right.
say go and get your own cabin.
Absolutely.
And I mean, Tara, I know we wanted to talk here, but I'm such a visual and I'm so excited to share everybody all of the different trips that I've done. Did you want me to go over some of my journeys or did you want me to
Absolutely.
play? Okay, great. Well, I did Svalbard and I just wanted to show you some of these journeys. This is the circumnavigation of Svalbard. If you're not familiar with where this is, it's the Northern Archipelago, belongs to Norway, and this is where we did our very first expedition in 1896. This is some of the landscape that you can expect from Svalbard. It is with three types of different glaciers, pointy mountains, and that's actually what Spitsbergen means in Danish is pointy mountains. It's riddled with history, with tons and tons of hunters and gatherers, and just even explorers, trying to reach the North Pole. And just the landscape is so incredible and just very, very untouched to this day. But reason why people come to Svalbard is because it's the realm of the polar bear, and there are more polar bears than people. So this is a pretty special picture, I think. And this is something that one of the photographers took. I didn't take this one. I wish I could take credit, but I didn't. But this is something you'd get in your logbook. And look at those walrus and the size. That polar bear is a big polar bear, but
He's,
look at it compared to the size of the walrus. Isn't that incredible?
he's
Love it.
thinking about it though. He's thinking about it.
He's outnumbered though. I don't think he's gonna go for it. So I think that's funny. And just one of the landscapes of what you'll experience, going through some of the sea ice. And this is a great place to spot belugas and sea lions and all the different wildlife because this is where they rest and this is where they get their food and, so many life forms around. And again, I know the polar bear is such a special an animal, but look at the landscape behind the polar bear. Like it's just chilling right next to a glacier. It's very, very nice.
Yeah.
And that's just a taste of Svalbard. I didn't even tell you all the things that you can experience there. But Antarctica, of course, is such a popular place. And of course, penguins. That's what you equate to Antarctica. That's why people want to go there, but also because of the landscapes. And remember how I was saying the penguins porpoising right next to
Uh-huh.
you? And this is very common. And these are some Gentoo penguins going out for a swim, going out for a feed. And then you just see these incredible icebergs and glaciers and snow-capped mountains and the lighting in Antarctica. I mean, these pictures just do not do it justice. You have to see it with your own eyes. But I mean, being in these landscapes is
Just
amazing.
the immensity of that iceberg or that glacier iceberg
It's it's
land.
a It's actually, it could be both. I'm not sure because you see this sort of site everywhere. It could be a glacier or it could be an iceberg.
Okay.
And of course, this is at a safe distance. But just seeing the scale of this at a safe distance, imagine if you were right next to it.
And if you have never been up close to a glacier before, you hear all the cracking and of the ice, and it's just really cool. And that Zodiac is going to be really quiet with, especially with the motor off. You're going to hear all the sounds that that glacier makes. So that'd be really
Absolutely.
cool.
It's such a beautiful sight. And of course, the whales coming up to breathe and being in their area and just being so close to nature. And this looks a little bit like Spitsbergen, but it's Antarctica, so it's very cool to see just snow and ice and some of the chin strap penguins, one of the three brush-tailed penguins you will experience. It's really nice. But going to Greenland, because I just got back from this trip and I took my parents because it was such a special trip too, was going all the way up to the north. And we went to a place called Ilulissat, and I'll show you some pictures from that. This in Greenland, the people in Greenland think this They consider this North Greenland, but there are actually communities that go all the way up here, and they call them the far away people. So they're actually the northernmost Inuit communities in the world, and we got to visit with locals on our ship, taking us through their hometown, which I thought was so special.
So cool.
But here for the birders, I always like to include birds because the snow bunting. I just thought this was so cute to see the snow bunting collecting, for his nest or her
Oh,
nest, which is so sweet. And this is part of Ilulissat. And this is where there are tons and tons of icebergs. And these icebergs broke off from a glacier and they're just sitting in this fjord because the icebergs are so deep and they're just touching and they're not floating because they're just reaching the ground. And this is where the Titanic, supposedly, the iceberg that hit the Titanic, supposedly came from Ilulissat, which, just to give you an idea of how many icebergs, I mean, when
yeah.
you pull in there, you're surrounded by icebergs.
Okay.
Puppies. I love puppies. And a fun fact about the puppies is they cannot go below the Arctic Circle.
Oh,
Yes, and if they leave Greenland or if they go below the Arctic Circle, they cannot come back. And no other breed of dog can go above the Arctic Circle to keep this breed the most pure in the world. So the Greenlandic sled dog is considered the most pure breed in the world.
very cool.
Yeah, and there are puppies everywhere. And if you're a puppy lover or a dog lover, you will love all the puppies coming up to greet you. It's just so fun.
It's almost as good as a penguin.
I know. I know. But the puppies you can touch, the penguins you can't. So
Right.
um, and then these are little auks, and these are special because 33 million have moved up to the North Greenland due to climate change. And their food source has moved north, so that's why they've moved north. And they feed on these little copepods, and that's why you can no longer find them in Iceland because their food source is no longer there.
Oh, okay.
Yep. All the things you learn on the journeys, Tara, all these
Yeah,
little things.
very cool.
And just showing you some of the communities. You see some of the sled dogs on the left and meeting the community members, and everything they do is by hand, and the sewing is immaculate. What they do in their traditional costumes, they only wear them for special occasions, and us coming to their communities was a special occasion, so they put on their most favored and their traditional costumes. Now, some of the beautiful, beautiful areas that we go to, and of course, the landscape changes as the summer warms up too. But if you like kayaking, just showing you some of these, and of course, those communities. Now, one thing I loved is that we ended with a soccer game against local community members, and I loved it. So you can see Team Greenland had these cool special jerseys. You can see that they've done this before. And
Yeah,
then HX, so these are guests as well as some of the team members on the ship. And we all played against the Greenlanders. And it was so much fun. I loved it so
very
much.
cool.
It was a great way to end the trip. Now, I did want to point out some of the Alaska trips that just came out because I know Alaska is such a popular area. We just launched a 10-day, but I also want to show these that these are very special. Even if you've been to Alaska, I promise you, expedition style makes you feel like it's going for the first time
Mhm.
because you're going to these hard to reach places. And Tara, I know you can talk more about that too. So,
Yeah,
um,
you're not hitting the traditional cruise ports that all of the other cruise lines are hitting. I'm guessing you're the only ship in port.
yes, 100%. And you're not seeing any other ships in there. And as we talk, I'm just going to play this video. This is from my recent trip to Greenland. So I just like to show this is kind of what you get in your logbook, but then also like a typical day and what you can experience while on an expedition, which is really, really special.
Yeah, you showed this to me before, and it is just amazing. I had a, a safari company owner one time tell me that he said it's I'm like, oh, well, will we see? And he said it's not if you will see animals, it's what you will see them doing. He said, because I'll guarantee you're going to see them. It's what cool things will you see them doing. So, and I have the feeling this is kind of the same way. It's not if you're going to see something, it's what it's going to be doing and what cool thing is going to be happening while you're there.
Yeah. And I mean, showing Illulasat right now, they have staff or, staff whales, as they call them, just kind of locals, because the whales feed on the krill, on the sea ice. So these whales kind of live there. They call them resident. I'm sorry, that's the word that they use.
Resident
Resident
not,
whales.
yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you're not guaranteed, but they pretty much know, okay, they're going over here feeding all the time, and it's just you don't know where they're going to pop up, because there's so much water
Mhm.
and you don't know where these things are.
It's
We
a big
do have an
space.
underwater. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's a big space, but you're going to see something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You will see, if anything, amazing, amazing landscapes. You're going to meet incredible people, not only on the ship, but also the communities, depending on where you're going. You're not going to meet anybody in communities in Antarctica. You're not going to meet anybody in Svalbard. Well, maybe in Longyearbyen and New Allison, but other than that, no.
So what great pictures. And to know that you don't have to worry about trying to get the best pictures because you're going to get these at the end.
Absolutely. And I'm just showing you a short clip of the video. The videos are usually anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes long as kind of like your video journal. And then you get probably 13 pages of professional photography, so hundreds and hundreds of photos that you can actually, use for anything. It's yours to use. Social media, if you want to print a book and show everybody,
Yeah.
you want to make a slideshow.
I
So
think
it's
this is
really
one you definitely have to get a book printed or at least some nice pictures on the walls.
yes, yes, yes. Just some mementos of those things because you know what? Sometimes you don't have your camera for these whales. So you don't get these shots, but the photographer was there, so they got them for you.
And I have to say, I've tried to get whale shots before. It's really hard to get a good whale shot without a professional camera.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is a good point. So see, look, there's a little dock. This is your dock that you get to go on.
So
So
not
this is
hard to get. You know, I think we all have the concept that it's so hard to get in and out of those zodiacs, but that looks easy as can be.
it is. And people are always there assisting you. You're never going to have to do that on your own. You're always going to have two people. We have stairs, to get you in and out too. So
Very
it's really
cool.
nice. But I know we have some questions about who's perfect for these trips.
Mhm.
I would say if you're an intellectual, if you are a bucket list checker, if you are anybody who just wants to experience a destination and not just travel there, this is the most amazing experience for you. It's transformational, really. It really is. It changes the way you see the world.
Mhm.
Um, it shows that you are there. The world is much bigger than us, and we all play a part, in the earth.
And I have to say, we went to Africa last year, and it was one of the most amazing experiences ever. Um, and one of my favorite things was that we got to go in and do a home hosted lunch with somebody in Zimbabwe. And this lady cooked a meal for us and talked about their culture and their daily life. And it was just incredible because you realize that they have, no matter how far away they are and how different their culture is, they're still raising their families and doing the best that they can. And they're not that different than our daily lives. We might have more creature comforts, but at the base of it, we're all just very similar. And I think that's something that you learn with travel, and it's so important.
100%. You said it best right there. We're all human and we all have the same, we want a roof over our head, love, and food. And if
Yep.
we have all those three things, we're good to go, you know?
Yep.
And one thing I will say, what a lot of the communities in Greenland, I'll just speak about Greenland, is that they do have communities, and they do know their neighbors, and they know everybody in their towns. They call them settlements, and they call them, they all know each other and they all help each other. And that's something that we've definitely gotten away from, in our own culture here. But it's just really nice to go back and say, who are the lucky ones, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We complain about a lot, but we have it very easy compared to a lot of these communities, and they wouldn't have it any other way.
Mhm.
So very, very
Absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely. Well, I'm happy to send this to you. So if anybody wants to look more at these journeys, and we have these logbooks for all of our destinations and all of our journeys. So no matter, and
And
I will say it could be the same itinerary, but it's not going to be the same experience.
right. And you showed me the logbook a little bit last time we chatted. The logbook contains more than the photos and the videos. It is the science that was conducted on board. So it's really a complete journal of, you know, next year you're going to think, oh, what was that experiment they were doing? And what was that? And you can just pull up your logbook and look and go, oh, yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah. And you know what? You bring up a good point. You can see exactly what day, and what pictures were taken on that day, what they did that day, where you landed, what they have even the coordinates of where you were too, which was really cool.
Yeah, because I always go back and look at my pictures and go, where were we?
Yeah.
Where was that? So
What
that's nice that it's all laid out like that. So fantastic. Well, I appreciate you showing us this so much.
Absolutely. I mean, this really encompasses, I can talk about it all day long, but I like to point out and show because I think the visual is what really, really will show people what an expedition is all about. This man was such a sweetheart. He was a fixture in his community. And drum dancing is very, very common. It's something that all people in Greenland pretty much do. It's part of their traditions and all of that. So,
You
I mean,
you spoke before about kids being on board.
mhm.
Do you have many children on board?
You see sometimes the multi-generational families. You see a lot of the grandparents and their kids, and then the
Okay.
grandkids. But the kids, I think, because of the length of our journeys, a lot of the parents do not come on there. The Galapagos is very popular for families due to the length of our trips. But in some of our longer journeys, you will see some kids, but it's not going to be full of kids at all. And
Okay.
there is an age limit in the Galapagos at 6 years. They must be 6 years old. And for places like Antarctica, they must be 5 years old. And
Okay.
it's up to the captain's discretion to allow them onto the Zodiac.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Yeah. But on this journey, there was an 11-year-old, a 14-year-old, and then some early teens and 20-year-olds in that multi-generational family that we saw on board.
Okay.
And they all loved it. They were having a fabulous time in the infinity pool. They were loving the excursions, the community visits. They were going to all the house visits, like you had said.
Uh-huh.
So they're all set up. It's all set up so you can enjoy and just really have that full experience.
So there is enough for them to do, but there's not all the bells and whistles that you have on some of the newer, bigger ships out there.
Yeah, there are no kids clubs. So if
Yeah.
you're thinking you're going to drop your kids off at a kids club, absolutely not. The kids club is go and put them in a lecture, or we have lots of board games on board, or they can read a book, or they can go and,
But
you
how
know,
how great to disconnect somewhat and just reconnect as a family.
and don't tell them about the free Starlink Wi-Fi. So don't tell them about that. And then you can have them disconnect.
Well, or at least put some limits on how long you can be on there a day.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, perfect. I love seeing your pictures and I can watch them all day. So if you want to send this to me, I can insert it after our little chat here.
Sure.
So anybody who wants to can keep watching. If you want to see other photos, let me know and I can get those to you, or if you need more information.
Absolutely. And Tara has my bat line. So any questions, she can always get in touch with me if she doesn't have the answers herself. More like the photos and things like that. So I have
Well,
access to certain things.
and I think that's an important thing to point out. One of the advantages of booking through a travel agent is I have Julia. I'm not calling the 800 number when I have a question and getting somebody from the call center. And I know all of your people are very, very well trained, but it's not like having one direct contact that she knows me, she knows my clients, and I work with her a lot to to get the best experience for you and to answer your questions quickly. So
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
that's something that
And
you
you
don't
have
have access to if you call the 800 number.
Yeah, and it's not only that, but you also have access to extra onboard credit and you have access to extra discounts and things that you can provide for the client. So that's the beauty of working with a travel advisor as well. And so Tara, that you're in great hands with Tara. Like I said, she has my bat line. she has, and she has access to everybody else in the company as well. So she has that great relationship with all of us.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing with us today, Julia. I really appreciate it. For anybody who's listening, if you have questions, put them in the comments. I do check those, or you can email me um, or give me a call. However, connect with me on social media, and I will get those questions answered for you. I will tell you this. I don't think I told you this last time we chatted, Julia. I have had clients visit every continent except
Antarctica.
Antarctica. So if you want to go on to Antarctica, give me a call because then I can check off. I've sent clients to every continent. So that would be exciting. And I have to say, I never really wanted to go to Antarctica until probably the last 3 or 4 years as I hear more and more people talk about it. And now I just really want to go.
It is a destination like no other. It's like visiting another planet. You must go. And
Yeah.
it's usually most people's last continent, right? Because
Yeah.
people don't realize that you can actually go there.
You can actually go there. And one thing is, if Antarctica is someplace you want to go, make sure that you're picking the right trip for you because a lot of cruise lines go to Antarctica, but they don't set foot on Antarctica.
They do a drive-by.
They do a drive by. And if I'm going to do the Drake Passage and I'm going to go to all of that way, and let's face it, Antarctica is not an inexpensive trip. I want to put my feet on the ground. I want to
And
get up
walk with
the chip.
penguins.
I want to walk with the penguins. I don't
Exactly.
want to just go, oh, look, there might be penguins over there as we
Yeah.
drive past. So that is something that's very important and unique about some of the expedition cruises as opposed to larger, more traditional ships.
Yep. And that's a great point because, people will go with maybe one of their favorite cruise lines that they've been with for years, and then they don't realize they're not getting off the ship. They're not even going to get close to
And
anything that
I've
they're going
seen some of those complaints online.
to.
So
Yeah.
research when you do this. And with me, you don't have to research. I can just tell you. Doesn't take any effort on your part.
Absolutely.
Anyway, well, thank you so much, Julia. I appreciate you chatting with us. And like I said, for anybody who has questions, post them in the comments and I will get back with you. You can also email me. You can give me a call. All of my information is in the bio that you're going to see.
And I think I have it right here too. If I do this, let's see if I can get this. Oops, I messed it up. So, it's with all at the bottom here too.
And
So
that's fine because I'll put a contact information at the very end of all of this.
great, fantastic.
All right. Well, thanks, Julia. Have a wonderful day, and thanks to everybody for watching.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tara. Thank you, everyone.